All right, we have a bunch of mics rolling, and here we are with 2024 best movies, or actually the best movies of 2024. Honestly, though, that's kind of a bad way to describe what we're about to do. It's like, these are our favorite movies of 2024. If you have a different opinion, share your own.
I'm Chad. I've seen 50 new movie releases in 2024. There's a lot that I still wish I saw.
Hi, I'm Brian. I saw about 66 movies this year. What do you want to do for the honorables? Do you want to do them all at once or flip-flop? What do you think?
We could do them all at once.
Honorable mentions from Brian. So I got 7 honorable mentions. I'll make it 8 really quick. I'm going to give a shout out and not talk about it. Alien Romulus was a really good sequel. It was the first or second movie out. Yeah.
Stop playing around, man. Just get up.
I'm not playing around. There's something in the water.
What do you mean there's something in the water?
I don't know. There's just something in the water.
Let's move to A Different Man. This is directed by Aaron Schimberg. Sebastian Stan and Adam Pearson were really awesome actors in this movie. The movie held a lot of surprises, especially near the end. I think it's got some issues. I think the subject matter was almost so meta that I suspended my disbelief, but that's also partially the point for the character. Adam Pearson was the highlight of the movie for me, and the message was awesome. The horror and the makeup was insane. I did say horror because there are some parts that are a little bit horrific to me. I really enjoyed it, and it is very interesting.
That guy's amazing. What do you know about him? Who is he?
Moving on along to another horror movie, Smile 2. Genuinely a creepy film. To me, it managed to surpass the original in terms of everything you can think of. It's a scary, mind-bendy trip, and it only further goes to showcase that the Smile Monster is one of the scarier ones in modern horror to me. Something that I would not want to encounter. Really, really bad. I'm not sure how you're supposed to beat these things. And it's also got a really good performance by Naomi Scott. Not everyone's gonna love this, but I loved it from that opening one shot, if you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Nickel Boys is a first-person point of view movie. It's a very unique experience. Kind of allows the viewer to live in the character's emotions and experiences, and sometimes it switches to other point of views too. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, but it's well written, it's tense, and it's very dark. The ending is legendary to me because it hit me in an unexpected way that's still not fully clear in my brain yet. I think I have a way to understand it, but other people have said other things, and that's a good thing. This is the most recent film I've seen to make it into one of my mentions, and the movie gives me a lot of hope that we can experiment with forms of film and still mesh it well with a cool story. This is hardcore Henry with a really deep hitting story. So I recommend Nickel Boys.
Good news, good news, good news. Things is changing. I let you down.
The Apprentice. I watched this as a double feature back-to-back with Terrifier 3, the Trump of Fire, if you will, but The Apprentice stood out to me. It's a horrific tale, crime and degradation, and showing how the soul of America is basically bought. It's just very plain and blatant, and it makes you understand. So Sebastian Stan plays it cool. Even if you hate the liposuction of the subject's soul, you can still understand this. And Trump, people think of, oh yeah, the art of the deal, he's a real good businessman. I'm not sure if that's true, but this film...
What are you doing? You want one? No, it looks totally disgusting. Cheeseball.
Puts it into context why people think that. Definitely a scary movie, though.
Why don't you go save him? Save him over there.
Don't get sick, Roy.
Conclave. What could have been a really boring movie, I thought it had a very interesting plot. It unfolded slowly, quietly, with the inner turmoil of the main character. I don't know, but it's Ralph Fiennes. Ralph Fiennes was a really cool leader, and his inner monologue was almost present in the way that they shot the film. Great editing, but the cinematography was the best. They had a lot of wide shots of the Vatican, and also had some really cute turtles. So look out for the turtles. This movie hit me at the right time because it's all about ego and selfishness and corruption, and also about voting. So it was very important to me around election time. Also shout out because there was only one other guy in the theater and he was snoring. So I think 15 minutes on he was completely out.
The men who are dangerous are the ones who do want it.
That sounds ominous.
We're down to 2 movies left. Civil War. Now, this movie was not my favorite when I first saw it in the theaters. The Central War, whatever was happening, the big conflict in America, it was very vague. It was not fleshed out well. But then I realized I was focusing too much on that. The movie's focus is on photography, photojournalism. It wants to prioritize the story, the truth, over the action. And I think that's commendable, because the final 30 minutes are really insane. It plays out more like a documentary, or very realistic, like way more than I would have expected. Some of the slower moments might have lost my patience earlier on, but it definitely made me consider why I thought they were slow. Looking back on them, they're actually really well fleshed out. Got a huge scope of violence in politics, and it's got a duty to serve the truth in the moment.
Wait!
And my last one. It kind of kills me to leave it out, but I'm gonna do it. A Complete Unknown by James Mangold. This was the year of Timothy. He was a fantastic Bob Dylan because he was mysterious. He was also egotistical. I thought this movie was gonna be bad. I was not looking forward to a sequel to Walk the Line, which is a joke, but you know. But Mangold bounced back really well from Indiana Jones and the unnecessary sequel. I don't know, he took a really interesting look at Bob Dylan. He took a really interesting look at Joan Baez. Bob Dylan didn't listen to anybody. And in fact, in many ways, he didn't want to be a celebrity. Just a very interesting movie about a very interesting man, and it doesn't offer a lot of answers. And I appreciate that. So, barely missed my top 10, but god, great soundtrack.
Your songs are like an oil painting at the dentist's office.
You're kind of an asshole, Bob.
If you go with snowflake storm.
Boom. That's how you fly through 'em.
All right, is that all 8 of them?
Yep. Romulus, and I'll say this about Romulus. I do love Romulus. I do think it's good, but I don't think it's as good as the first 2 Aliens. So, I'll say that. Anyway.
All right.
Yeah.
I can hop into my honorable mentions. Because you did 8, I will tack my 8th one on at the end here. Only complaint I would have is Alien Romulus, but
I got you.
You already know. My first honorable mention, and it kills me to not put this on my list, and I was literally just like bouncing it back and forth between the 10th spot, is Juror number 2. I loved this movie. Like, I was locked in, and I don't know if it's just because I've hit a deer before, a relatable scenario, but for me there was like no need for a suspension of disbelief, because it was like a scarily real situation that I feel like could happen to anyone, and it would just put you in this horrible position. And the movie just like shows it play out, in with so many different factors and pressures at play on Nicholas Hoult, who plays the main character. And I think Toni Collette killed it as the prosecuting attorney as well. And then like their little dynamic with each other by the end of the movie was, I thought, a great way to end it.
What are you telling me? Maybe I didn't hit a deer.
All right, next up, I saw the TV Glow. So when I saw this, like, I'm not trans, and I feel like I missed a lot of the kind of messaging of the movie. And like when I finished it, I was confused, because I feel like I took away the opposite of the intended interpretation, with like the super creepy and terrifying last scene with like the main character grown up working at the party place. Reevaluating the movie, I do think that the ending is like super powerful and meaningful, just in a lot of ways that I wasn't picking up personally. The movie, it's very kind of artsy, like kind of nostalgic, I guess. Like, it took me back to like lying to my mom about going to a friend's for a sleepover and going somewhere else, and seeing a show that you used to love growing up and how it doesn't really hold up. Some of the themes and visuals did resonate with me. Puts this one as high as I put it.
I know this might sound crazy. I don't want to alarm you.
Do you remember a TV show we used to watch together?
Next up, I've got Civil War. I feel like I also kind of approached it the wrong way when I saw it, because I didn't realize how much of a focus would be on photography and journalism. But kind of as I was watching it, I was starting to think about how journalists and photographers kind of have a moral dilemma between having like the best picture or the best story. In reality, there's a lot of like negative implications that can come from the type of pictures and stories that they're putting out there. And like that, watching the characters grapple with that, and watching Kaylee Spaney's character be mentored but also foiled by Gwyneth Paltrow?
Dunst? Is that right?
Yeah, Kirsten Dunst, yes. Like seeing their dynamic and kind of like the progression of their two characters, the themes about photography is really fascinating. And I regret not calling out Kaylee Spaney for her role in this and Romulus as well. Very like scary politically, like how kind of accurate it is without being super political, and just kind of showing like what our world could devolve into.
God bless America.
All right, my next honorable mention is Terrifier 3. Like we've said, this is probably the best movie in the franchise, and I'm a big fan of the franchise, and it still blows my mind that these movies are getting theatrical releases, and now it's like hitting the mainstream. Like, took everything to another level as usual, took the lore to another level as usual, and I will be seated day one for Terrifier 4.
Do you know when that is?
He might be taking like some years to write it. I know he's definitely working on writing it now though.
Who is this Santa? He's scaring my kid.
Yeah, he's scaring me too.
Hey, Santa's handing out presents!
All right, next up I've got A Quiet Place Day 1. I love the Quiet Place movies, and I feel like this one absolutely delivered. And based on the premise on set of this apocalypse, I thought it'd be super action-packed. And there was a lot of action, but it was really just like that opening scene where the aliens are like mass murdering people. And then from there, it becomes actually like the most kind of personal, self-contained story of the trilogy. But the two characters played by Lupita Nyong'o and what's the dude's name?
The cat? Oh.
Eddie from Stranger Things. Joseph Quinn.
He's actually going to be a Fantastic Four dude too.
Yeah, dude, he took off. Like, he took Stranger Things and ran. But yeah, those two characters had like this beautiful dynamic and relationship, even though they've like just met each other. And the conclusion of the story is very impactful and a nice, heartwarming, but also tragic conclusion to the movie.
That movie warmed up on me big time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Next up, I've got The Brutalist. This one, I enjoyed it, and I think it's like visually and cinematically like an amazing movie. I was invested the entire first half, and then after the intermission, I feel like I kind of just got like lost in what I was supposed to focus on and like what was kind of like the meaning of the movie at that point, and like the characters were really shifting in different ways. Like maybe if I rewatched it, it would end up higher, but I feel like it probably did not need to be that long. It just, like, in my opinion, watching it, I feel like it didn't earn that full runtime. Based on
like movie cannot win Best Picture unless it's like 3.5 hours long. So.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got that memo.
Yeah.
When dogs get sick, they often bite the hand of those who fed them.
Then next up, I've got Furiosa. We've already talked about this one a little bit. I think Anya Taylor-Joy kills it. It like ramps up Mad Max, like you said, in the set design and the action sequences, which are really the best parts of those movies. Really glad this movie exists, and really bummed that it failed at the box office and that a lot of people didn't go see it.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
But I saw it and I loved it.
Same.
Enough!
And then finally, I've got Late Night with the Devil. Already talked about it in my surprise hits, and I stand by it being a hit. Like I said, great concept, executed very well. Anyone who's into like a found footage, late night talk show type of horror movie should definitely check this out, because it does it very well.
I will do that. You've been telling me to watch that one for a long time.
Yeah, dude. That was like my top horror movie of the year because it came out so early.
Lily, the young subject of the book, Conversations with the Devil. So, now as you know here on Night Owls, we think it's very important to keep an open mind.
All your honorable mentions are great. I really don't think I can argue with any of those points. Should I just jump into top 10?
Yeah, dude. Time for the heavy hitters.
These are the best movies of the year. Number 10. The Wild Robot by Chris Sanders. Wildly emotional and incredible picture. Like military grade giant robot that falls out of the sky and lands somewhere in like this North American island that's kind of like isolated, and they basically learn how to live amongst the habitat. So it's very interesting. DreamWorks knocked it out of the park. This story puts them ahead of Disney big time in my eyes, because like creatively, I don't know, I feel like this and Puss in Boots and other projects just like give me more hope for them. The animation is like rich. It's not just good, it's like Spider-Verse level. The movie is dominated by the mantra of survival of the fittest. You know, this robot becomes more of a human as they discover what it means to be alive, to like raise a youngling. It's a very fascinating, not always mushy-gushy story. Like there's a lot of variety. Like some people are gonna say this is written for kids, but I think it holds a more mature, like understanding of life and death than most movies. The montage with the group in winter, where it's like a rescue team thing. If you've seen it, you know what I mean.
Bummer, this one's dead.
It's a great scene. I probably should have mentioned it as one of the best of the year. And I think the movie exemplifies like good intentions in the world. So thank you, DreamWorks, for a really good trip to the cinema.
I've actually not seen this movie, so I've got nothing to say, but I've heard a lot of good things, and you have been telling me to watch it.
Like, it's probably got a good chance to win the Oscar, is what I'm hearing, for animated. Mm-hmm. But I would not be disappointed, because I think it is really special, and it's really funny.
My number 10 movie is Longlegs.
Oh.
Like I said, I think you're valid in your criticisms, and I don't think it's a perfect movie. Nicolas Cage's performance, and also Micah Monroe, who I've been a fan of since I saw It Follows a long time ago. She plays like a very interesting character, in that she's very subtle. When you see the reveal to the movie, it kind of, things start to add up of like why she's been acting the way that she has the whole time. There is like a big reveal to me that didn't really hit in the movie. The reason it made this spot is while watching it, I felt the tension in many scenes. I was like terrified by Nicolas Cage's character. The surprises that did hit for me, and then the dramatic irony in the final scene, because you like know what's about to go down, but like the characters don't really know what's about to happen. That hit really hard for me as well. And then rewatching this, I noticed a lot of things that I didn't notice the first time, or that like made more sense on second viewing.
Now I gotta rewatch it, because I haven't.
One thing is that they hid like, I think 15 like shadowy death angels throughout the movie, and like you see like 4 or 5 of them very clearly like in the frame, but they're like everywhere throughout the whole movie.
I will say it had the creepy like vibes down really well, and that's why I said like you can't really put this movie too far down, but like yeah. I think the end just like pulled the carpet out from under me, but like I can appreciate the Zodiac vibe they were doing and everything with Nick Cage.
I know you're not afraid of a little bit of dark. Because you are the dark.
Number 9. I'm Still Here, directed by Walter Salles. This is an emotional story about a great injustice. It's actually the very first Brazilian movie to ever be nominated for Best Picture, and like, yeah, it was like, it's actually very shocking. People did not expect it. It follows a family of 7. A military dictatorship around them in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro, starts to affect their family and threatens to like, it's hard to describe, but I don't want to give a lot of stuff away. The first act of the film is a very great vibe. It's actually really relaxed with old camera sequences, and they go really hard. They're like driving around Rio in their like convertible cars, smoking doobies or whatever. There's like only hints of anything going wrong, like the sound of helicopters passing or television programs. So I just want to point out the sound in this movie really interesting. Cleverly plays with these layers and makes you like feel the choppers in the background as characters are having like conversations, and you're like, is that a threat? Every one of these kids genuinely feel like they have individual personalities that stand out, which is hard to do in a big family dynamic movie. But Fernanda Torres has been getting a lot of praise for her performance. It's really hard to see her and her family get thrown into a lot of turmoil outside of their control. It's a heartbreaking story, it's haunting, it's mysterious. It is also true. I just love it. I think the editing is sneaky clean, and it's a very huge win. I don't know, for Brazil, I guess.
Brasília tá pegando fogo. Milicos vão cair matando.
My buddy that went to go see it with me, he didn't know anything about it either, really, and he almost got to tears from it. So,
wow.
It really, really good movie. Yeah.
Yeah, but it would make me cry.
It gets real when they get into prison. It gets really real. So.
Não precisa sorrir.
Por que não?
O editor pediu. Uma foto menos feliz.
Ele que é triste. Nós vamos sorrir. Sorriam.
Time for my number 9. At number 9, this one surprised me. I almost even put it in the surprise hits, but I figured I'd wait to talk about it. Smile 2. I actually did not even like the first Smile movie, and I think my big problem was that the whole movie I was kind of trying to figure out like the rules, or I guess like the rules of the Smile demon monster thing. Once I thought I had it figured out, like something would happen. I'm like, how is that possible? How can it do that? When I went to watch this movie, I just like completely suspended all my disbelief. I'm just gonna watch it and enjoy it. This movie gripped me in a way that horror movies generally do not grip me, because you could not trust that anything was real, and you could like never tell exactly when there was going to be a threat, but you always knew it was going to be there.
How do we stop it?
We need to kill you first.
What?
There's a great surprise reveal at the end that I was not expecting at all. The final sequence at the concert when, you know, if you've seen a Smile movie, you know how it goes. A brilliant conclusion to such a thrilling movie. And then they do a lot of cool things throughout as well, like when they had all the people smiling in her apartment, like chasing her around, like that legitimately terrified me. Like I'm sure some people could watch that and laugh at it. I was locked in, and it was probably Naomi Scott's performance that was, she looked terrified and I was terrified right there along with her. And do you know how where she got her start?
No.
As far as I know, Lemonade Mouth, the Disney Channel original movie, I think she sings Determinate. Determinate. Or She's So Gone. That one might be her. That's a banger.
She carried that movie so well. And I already mentioned it once, but I love the opening of that movie. It was like a one take of them with the drug deal.
That's crazy.
You're not in control!
The rock star scene at the end is legendary, and I kind of forgot about it for the top scenes. Yeah.
I thought about it.
Sky, pull it together and get back out there.
So number 8 for me, The Brutalist by Brady Corbet. There's a discussion about how pretentious it is, and I buy it. 3.5 hours, split into 3 parts with a 10-minute intermission, shot on VistaVision. It sounds like the movie's already won Best Picture, but anyone who is judging based on everything that I just said, based on those details alone, I implore you to actually watch the movie. Adrian Brody has a really, really good performance. Laszlo Toth survived the Holocaust and came to America. The main idea of the movie is that he's enduring hardships to achieve his American dream, and in the second half he finds that things aren't so black and white. But the large scope of the film is really impressive to me. Like, to me it had a really good pace. Guy Pearce, I really want to shout out to him because he had a career role, and I think I would vote for him for Best Supporting Actor this year. The American Dream, it looks at it from consumers versus conquerors, and the intermission kind of helps you break down the 2 different ways that the main character viewed it. Like he seemed a lot angrier and bitterer in the second half, especially towards his friends and family. So
they do not want us here.
Who do you mean?
The people here. They do not want us here.
I really liked it. It's not perfect, but I love what it's saying. It has very big ideas about art and work. Yeah, it parallels making a film very well. Want to talk about the like ending?
The cave scene.
Yeah. The cave scene, I thought, where it kind of descends into a where is he, and it gets really kind of spooky. I thought that was fantastic, right? It lost a lot of people when they pulled out and they ended up, like, I think in the 80s.
I was still just thinking about what happened in the cave scene. Like I said, I got lost in the sauce a little bit.
I mean, I did too a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. People are like, what the is that ending? I'm like, oh, it is weird. I think, I don't know. Laszlo's barely in the end of the movie.
Yes.
And I thought that was interesting. I just thought, I thought it was a powerful movie. Definitely a marvel to look at.
I'm afraid it is not so simple.
Number 8, Anora, directed by Sean Baker, starring Mikey Madison. I would say I'm a Sean Baker fan. I think I've only seen The Florida Project and Red Rocket, but I thoroughly enjoyed both of those movies. This movie I think is kind of a step up for him, like budget-wise and scale-wise. It kind of starts one way, like we were talking about before, is like this glorified romance. It starts with like money involved, like a transactional kind of relationship. So it really doesn't start on the strongest feet. In the middle, it kind of evolves into like a, I don't know, like a chase comedy. When it cuts to the Pope or like Bishop or whoever giving the baptism, and he's like checking his phone during the baptism. I'll be right back, and just like hands the baby off to somebody and leaves the church.
What?
Great comedy throughout. And then, as I mentioned, with one of my favorite scenes of the year, the ending is this super, I guess, bittersweet emphasis on the bitter, and then it just cuts to the credits, and you just hear like the wiper. Like, I don't think there's any music in the credits, and it really just makes you think about everything you just watched and what it all means. Makes you think about the journey that Anora has been on.
She went on a hell of a lot. Like, it's kind of hard to follow almost, but yeah, I like the whirlwind. I was thinking of you being a Sean Baker fan.
Love The Florida Project.
I think you showed it to me for the first time, and I was taken back by that end.
In your basement. That end is one of my favorite endings to any movie ever.
Yo, did you pick up milk?
Do you see milk in the fridge?
No.
Number 7. So, number 7, I don't know if you've seen this one, Didi, directed by Sean Wang.
I have.
To some people, this will not be anything special, but to me, this movie means a lot. In 5th grade, my YouTube channel was created, and it was called Epic Skate Crew. So that's like, I was a YouTuber who definitely wanted to fit in, but I didn't always feel like so secure in myself. And, you know, the truth is, when you think you don't fit in, that's when you don't fit in. And that's a lot of the vibe that I got from Didi, is it's like, I feel like I have lived this movie. Didi is nostalgia. It tells a deep and complex story as an individual whose insecurity impacts their relationships, not just with their family, but with their friends and with like these girls that, you know. I think Didi explored very interesting facades of fitting in, and it had like this great vibe of just being super awkward, but also hilarious. This is a real movie for Gen Z lonely kids, and I will gladly praise this movie all day long, even though I don't think this got any awards.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold my tongue because I will be talking about it very soon.
So then I'm gonna say real quick, this highlights how fun and frustrating this time period is. The dialogue was very natural. It did not feel forced for these young actors, and like the title sequences are f***ing killer. This explored how it felt to be alive in 2008, even though I would be a few years younger than Didi, but not much.
Yo, Wayne, don't even trip. You got strong ass teeth. You're handsome. That's why Manny likes you, baby.
All right, my number 7 is A Real Pain, directed by Jesse Eisenberg, starring Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin. So earlier you mentioned that the movie is kind of cliche. Is that what you said?
In some ways it is cliche. It doesn't do it in the cliche way, you know?
Yeah, you got these two cousins who are like very different people.
Thank you, David.
But it's amazing that you're here, putting yourself out there so boldly for me.
Thank you, man. Let's go smoke a joint.
At the start of the movie, you don't really know their like relationship with each other or their history. You're just like going off the vibes of how they interact with each other. But then as the movie unfolds, you start to find out a little bit more about like why they feel the way they do about each other. Like they have a lot of really good, genuine conversations, especially when they're smoking weed together. Like weed in this movie really represents like a breaking of the bread, even when like there might have been like a little fight or hiccup or two throughout the day.
We're not at the right station.
And you didn't wake me up.
Oh, you were having such a good nap, dude.
Jesus
you were like,
Christ, we were on a tour group with
I
people.
know, I just didn't have the heart to wake you up.
Personally, watching this, I could see parts of myself in both of the characters, and I came away relating with Jesse Eisenberg's character way more. But it made me think, it made me wonder, I'm like, does my brother see me as Kieran Culkin in that way? Take some of the attention away, like kind of more outspoken. Through psychoanalyzing these two characters throughout this movie really made me think about myself. Unlike any other movie this year, that's why it's on my top 10 and why I think that this is a great movie. I think a lot of people out there should probably watch this and reflect on themselves a little bit. Culkin has the advantage of, he's literally just playing himself. If you've ever seen him in any interviews, like every character he's ever played is literally just how he acts. Like at the end of the day, you realize that like neither one of the characters is like fully in the right, and like neither one is really living their dream. Some balance and some nuance like in between both of them, which is probably where you want to be.
I thought it would be pretentious, and it was not. It was very, very easy to take in, and like it feels like a comfort movie. It will be to me.
Has he always been like this?
So number 6, Furiosa, directed by George Miller. Furiosa takes its damn time to dive into the world of Mad Max. The protagonist is like pretty damn cool in Fury Road. We get such a rich story with her. We get to understand her motivations. They develop slowly over time. The prologue in particular was awesome. It sets up her entire life and everything that happens in the series afterwards. There were a number of sequences that rocked my in the theater. So the other guy that like she was working with, okay, when they're escaping Imperial Joe, just an epic sequence. One of the most fun experiences you could have in the theater. Some actual body horror mixed with like bad action in the desert. So I'm always down for another Mad Max story. Chris Hemsworth really killed it. I did not expect him to like rip his nipples off or whatever the happened. I don't think we need to compare it to Fury Road. Like, one's an epic that takes 20 years, and the other one takes place in like 2 days. It really fleshes out the world, though. The torture and drag scene was really rough. It really stuck with me, with all the dogs. But the revenge plot was very satisfying. Other than a monologue at the end, which kind of overstayed its welcome, like Furiosa, it stood above most of these modern films, and it was just more fleshed out world. I understood the landscape of the wasteland, and it's kind of a shame if they never do anything else Mad Max again, but this is a good way to go out.
Agreed. Yeah, most underrated movie of 2024.
This little army of two. Where were they going? So full of hope. There is no hope.
Time for my number 6. For my number 6, I've got Didi, a movie that you just talked about. So I think you said that you lived half of this movie or 50% of this movie. When I left the theater, I felt like I had lived 100% of this movie. Like, my biggest discrepancy would be that I feel like he lied a lot in the movie, which was like him trying to fit in and things like that, which like I definitely lied as a child, but I feel like
small bits like that, but not as big as he would do it, you know?
You've seen the movie, you'll know.
Yeah, I've seen the movie. E.T.
I did not have the one-to-one relatability of the beginning like YouTube channel of specifically a skateboarding channel. Like, that's a crazy parallel that you have. All the scenes, like with his family, with the girls, with his friends, like all of that just felt like pulled straight from my childhood and straight from my memories.
Wang wang? Isn't that like the sound a duck makes? You know, like wang wang.
And I'm with you where I was a little bit older, or no, a little bit younger. So I wasn't on like MySpace like he was and things like that. All the dialogue beats and relationship situations just felt so real. It's just crazy how relatable this is. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen another movie that I've related to as much.
I felt like not only the titles were good, but everything they did online felt very compelling. Like,
yes. Yeah, they recreated everything perfectly.
Yeah, the screens were like actually fun to like navigate in the movie.
Mhm.
Like they spend a long time going on like chat rooms, so it is a little different, but like I definitely was like, this is a movie for people like you and me, Gen Z.
Yep.
So beautiful.
I'm Didi.
No, you're beautiful.
I love you.
No, I love you.
All right, time for the top 5.
Number 5. This is my highest rated international film. Flow. Denis Villeneuve is right when he said earlier in 2024 that you do not need to rely on dialogue for a powerful message in your movie. I did not expect that to apply most accurately to a film about a cat. But it does. Flow is about a cat or a kitten during a dangerous flood. But the thing about this movie is it's basically a silent film. There's no dialogue, there's just noises. There's just animals communicating in their like natural voices. So the film has some purely magical elements in the story, which plays out like a wild dreamscape or almost like a video game, like you're part of the trip. What easily could have become Noah's Ark or Life of Pi, it never fails to mix things up by putting some intriguing ideas with one another. The idea of loyalty or possessiveness or pack mentality. And all these like little side characters, the other animals, whether it be a lemur or a capybara or a dog, they all offer different like pitfalls that the cat has to work around in order to like create a united community to survive this disaster. So I really love the ride a lot more than I thought I would. I adored the cat. It's so beautiful. And honestly, without the cat, the whole picture would fall apart. It needed a glue like that to really like ground the story and take us through the world. This movie is fantastic. It's universally accessible, and it stands up super well as a work of art in a world of commercials.
I have not seen Flow, but I love cats. I love animated movies. I love indie movies. So this is probably the number one I would watch if I could watch any movie from 2024.
It's almost a spiritual movie at times, and I think they made it for like a super low budget from an independent Latvian company. So yeah, it's like the Boy and the Heron of this year for me, like an animated movie that gripped me a lot stronger than I thought it would.
All right, my number 5 is Challengers, directed by Luca Guadagnino, starring Zendaya, Mike Face, and Josh O'Connor. A lot of what carried this movie for me was the epic ending, the editing, and the soundtrack. The soundtrack is killer throughout the whole movie. You have this thrilling love triangle between Zendaya, Art, and Patrick are the other characters. Like usually when it's a love triangle, it's like one point going off in 2 different directions.
It's nice to see you lit up about something, even if it's my girlfriend.
But in this movie, you have the homoeroticism of the 2 guys liking each other as well. Yeah. And like there's a scene where they end up making out, and it's like they don't even notice that she's not kissing them. And then also so many just like kind of innuendos and things throughout in all their dialogue. The biggest thing that I love about this movie is that love and tennis, or I guess like love, feelings, and tennis, sex and tennis are like interchangeable in half of these conversations. Like whether they're talking about one or the other. For Tashi's character, Zendaya's character, a lot of like what she loves about the 2 boys is like their success in tennis. Because like that's something that's taken from her. Very well written. I love tennis, and all the tennis scenes were super well done. Came out pretty early in the year. Like we said, that's probably why it's not getting as much Oscar buzz, but it really stood the test of time for me.
I'm taking such good care of my little white boys.
It's got a great soundtrack, and like the performances super good. The script is super interesting. Real quick, who would you pick out of the 2 dudes? Which one do you think was the better tennis player?
And I think that's like part of why I love the ending. It almost has that same feel of Anora, where it's like the movie ends and then you're just sitting there like, what the f***? And you really have to like kind of think about it for yourself, like the implications of how it ends. And I don't even remember who had the advantage, but it's like in that moment, at least to me, it's showing that there's more.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. There's more to it than tennis. It's the friends that we made along the way.
We went somewhere really beautiful together.
Number 4. Anora, directed by Sean Baker. More editing flair than any other film. So I've been a fan of the Florida Project, but that was like pretty simple landscape. Anora makes this like a nationwide endeavor. Anora takes a fairy tale dream sequence, and it was very enchanting, but it also has a very interesting fall down in the second half because it moves at such a rapid speed. And I would dare say Anora is the best edited film of the year. The ending, like you said, catches you off guard. The movie emphasizes the fact that Anora is a tough girl and that she can handle it, and she actually can. But you know what? Nobody can do everything.
What is that? Is that a butterfly?
Yeah, it's a butterfly.
You're so classy.
I know.
I think it has all the tools to be a classic someday, from a killer script to beautiful cinematography and awesome colors. Mikey Madison is my pick for Best Actress of the Year, even though there's some other ones that I don't think she's going to win, but I would pick her. So anyway, the supporting cast was hilarious. The situations were off the wall. I love it when like the Russians showed up for the first time, like kind of get into the house, like that chaotic energy. Just like I rode that for the rest of the movie.
It's a frog marriage, and we're getting in an old ASAP.
But I like that this movie never got off the rails completely, especially with the interactions with like the Russian parents. Peak comedy, possibly peak editing. The vignettes were low-key amazing, and out of all the major contenders, I think, like, okay, there's other movies that I'd probably prefer to win, but I think I would be happy if Nora won the Best Picture Oscar.
And I would be very happy if it won as well. Also, Quentin Tarantino is Nostradamus in that Sydney Sweeney, Margaret Qualley, and Mikey Madison, and from Stranger Things, the other one, they were all like side characters in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and now they're all like 4 of the biggest actresses in Hollywood.
And it is starting to stick as well. We'll show you a live look at the roads in a little bit.
Number 4. Coming in at number 4 is Nosferatu. I'm a big fan of Robert Eggers. I've enjoyed all of his movies. He levels up his horror to another level. Like The Northman was huge scale, but now he's taking historical horror to this huge scale. Big name actors, set pieces, costume design. And I was like gripped by Thomas's journey and like terrified like right along with him. Bumps on his neck, etc. Lily Rose Depp also killed this from back on the mainland. Like her performance, completely natural, like no special effects, but so possessed and just like unsettling. I don't know if I've seen anything like that before. Especially coming off of The Idol, like people were starting to write her off, trajected herself back into the spotlight. Really quick, Bill Skarsgård, he was completely transformed in this role as Count Orlok. He's obviously played some monsters before, but nothing quite like this. Lowered his voice like 10 octaves or whatever. And he's absolutely terrifying, disgusting in makeup and costume. Is he actually just like this evil demon? Or is it just like a dude who's been like blown out of proportion? Because you really can't tell what's real and what's kind of fabricated by Thomas's mind.
There is a devil in this world, and I have met him.
I've thought a lot about it, and I still feel like I'm trying to figure out everything that it's saying. It's super tense, very well directed horror, and the ending is like this super dramatic, kind of triumphant scene that I feel like Eggers' movies haven't really had a lot of up to this point. So it's nice to see that he can really kind of like strike a last chord like that.
This is probably the best example of like the Eggers style to me. The production design of this movie, pretty impressive. Willem Dafoe is probably my favorite part though, not gonna lie.
We are here encountering the undead plague carrier. The vampire. Nosferatu.
My number 3. These are the 3 most legendary films of 2024. Number 3, Hundreds of Beavers, directed by Mike Cheslick.
Holy
Yeah, boy. This is a local production. That's not why I picked it, but I'm always quick to tell you when there's a film that's been made in Michigan or Ohio. So I appreciate the descent into Looney Tunes madness and humor. It works exceedingly well with every damn joke. It gets so repetitive to the point where it's like you're layering that joke on top of itself 5 times and it gets funnier on the 5th time. Hundreds of Beavers proves that low-budget filmmakers can always make great use of the tools at hand, and it's a great example of something stunning, original. The Beavers, the outdoorsmen, the like whistle tune that you always hear, the or whatever they're doing, mind-numbingly fun and enjoyable. Like seriously, it's a great time rewatching it. I rewatched it on my birthday, so. Epic cheekiness, insane production, and moving every joke to like the furthest extent. It's like incredible. It fills me with joy, honestly. I think anyone with this level of kookiness needs to like find a way to express themselves because you really never know who's watching. There really was no limit for the success. Like I really love this movie. The sequence where they go to the Beaverland is peak, one of the best scenes this year. I did not want to give it away that this movie was on my list, so I did not say it. Sherlock Holmes and Watson Beavers killed me. It's fun, cheeky shit, dude. I don't know if there's 3 costumes for Beavers or 300. That's the kind of way this movie is. Just super impressive, and I love it.
Up there with Flow, I would say this is my other movie that I want to watch the most. I even tried to watch it because I was at my friend's house and he had it on Prime, but he was not into it.
No.
I know. I gotta wait. But my one friend loved it so much that he's like, dude, you have to watch this movie with me. And yeah, I first heard about it when my wife's parents randomly saw it and they said that we had to see it. My biggest blind spot of the year, I would say, but I'm so happy to hear how high it made it on your list.
Yeah, I loved it, and legendary, bro. Oscars, you don't mean shit. You did not nominate this for anything.
You did. You absolutely shocked me with that. So, time for my number 3. I would say that these 3 have been my top 3, like, since the moment I've seen each one, and it's never changed. Like, these are 3 all-timers for me. Alien, Romulus. Alien, Romulus. I have only seen the first Alien movie and Covenant randomly, so I do not have the full context. I don't know all the tie-ins, but as someone who loves the first Alien movie, and I feel like this hits a lot of the same beats, but just like ups the ante in a lot of ways, I think this is like the definitive Alien movie for me personally. Some amazing sequences with the facehuggers, such cool sequences with the xenomorphs, especially like the zero gravity and like the blood floating around and everything. In this world, when the spaceship takes off, I was in the Dolby Theater and the seat was shaking like I was on the spaceship, like flying off to the alien. My heart was pounding at every tense action sequence. Like, characters were compelling, and I was really rooting for Kaylee Spaney's character the whole time. Was absolutely blown away by this movie.
Her brother was so cool.
Yeah, the robot guy.
Yeah, I thought, dude, he stuck with me. I forgot about him low-key until just now, but he was a really interesting character.
I'm a big anti-AI guy, but I couldn't help but really appreciate his character. Like, I'm scared that robots will like actually take over the world.
Yeah, I think the creators of like OpenAI literally said, well, they'll take over the world and destroy it, but it might be good for businesses. So like, that's helpful.
You want to break in peace?
If you like any Alien movies, you got to see this one.
Number 2, 10 out of 10. 5 stars, one of my favorite movies by a slim margin. And I'm telling you, this is better than Poor Things. This would be number 1 last year.
What?
The Substance.
Hey, let's go.
I would not say that The Substance is really scary, but it is a horror movie. This is a disgusting, gross, to the point where I had to look away in theaters. Dennis Quaid eating shrimp. Monstro Elizasu is a crowd pleaser. The whole ending is like, this monster that they created is actually a beautiful creature assured of herself. This is a world that's focused on traditional beauty standards. You know, you're too this, you're too that. You need to change. You should be younger. But you can't change who you are. And so this harmful relationship we have right now in society between pressures of our own beauty and pitfalls of like who we are, they're explored really interestingly. I could not predict it. They're performers of the year when you put them together. They feel like the same person, Elizabeth Sparkle and Sue. The makeup is some of the best I've ever seen in a movie.
Come on, Sue. So funny, I need to take a piss.
It's funny, it's disgusting, made my brain explode, and regardless if it wins anything, it's really nice to see a horror film get a lot of recognition.
Absolutely. I agree with everything you said, and I feel like I should get straight into my number 2, which is The Substance as well. I was really hoping that you would say it. I had a feeling I would have been really sad if it didn't make your list or honorable mentions.
Of course, man.
I absolutely agree with everything you said, all the way down to it's nice to see the Oscar noms. I'm hoping it sets a new precedent for horror. I think Demi Moore could totally take away Best Actress.
I could see it.
I think the makeup was the best. The visuals across the board were insane to me because everything just looks so real, even though it's such like unnatural and disturbing things. And I saw a behind the scenes clip, the director actually injected the substance into herself for that scene. Like that's the director's arm.
Oh my god.
Like physically injecting it. So there's no special effects there set at all. Like the movie's unpredictable. It's like we didn't expect the fight scene. Nobody could have expected Monstro Elizasu. I really like what you said about the ending. Kind of a time to like have like this joyful experience after you've just been like so sad for these characters, or I guess this character the whole time. Like you said, it wasn't scary, but I think the scene where Demi Moore and she keeps like redoing her makeup over and over again, that scene definitely filled me with some negative feelings by what she was doing to herself and like the point that she reached, you know.
The scariest parts to me are when we see Elizabeth deteriorating, especially like the biggest scare to me was her looking in the mirror. I was like, what the f?
Yeah, the scariest parts are when there's nothing like monstrous or gross on screen. It's just her like trying to be herself.
In reality, she was pretty beautiful at the start. She just listened to somebody else too much, you know?
Yes.
Hello.
And I'm sure if you're a woman, this will probably hit on like another level.
The way that the men act in this movie are pretty disgusting. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
And funny. They're just like little boys chasing the like, ooh, flowers. It's
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah, they literally all prance away.
It was definitely. I think they forget it's also a comedy. So
yeah.
Okay, we got one more left, and let's be honest here. We have the same movie, don't we?
Yeah, can we do something unprecedented where we both say it at the same time?
Dune Part 2. Every shot in this movie feels well thought out. The visuals of a colorful desert and this realistic looking technology. Denis Villeneuve has never done anything wrong in my book. This movie takes him to new heights. So the cast rolls with him really well. I'm talking about Rebecca Ferguson, Austin Butler, Timothée Chalamet, but we also have Zendaya, Florence Pugh, Christopher Walken, Josh Brolin, Dave Bautista. So even beyond the ensemble though, the film explores a rise in corruption and power in this well-meaning guy. You already mentioned, it's so fascinating to see Paul, who you root for a movie and a half, kind of leave a bitter taste in your mouth. There's genuine betrayal. The soundtrack was bopping. The editing is awesome. It fully realizes the full extent of what needs to be done, and it shocked me constantly. Like my mouth was open the entire time in the theater.
I think the only wrong this movie can do is if it makes it too hard to top for the final sequel in the trilogy, you know. Yeah, I'm glad you listed out all the actors and actresses because literally all of them killed it and absolutely delivered in their roles. Like Rebecca Ferguson, that whole arc with her is one of my favorite parts of the movie.
The holy war begins.
To me, everything about this movie is perfect. To me, this is our Star Wars. Like, this is our once-in-a-lifetime theatrical experience that will be, like, remembered forever, will change your life if you're there in the theater watching it when it comes out. It's amazing. It's epic. It's morally gray in ways that I've never seen before. I'm on the edge of my seat waiting for the last part, and I'm specifically not reading the book before this comes out, because to me the movies are the definitive Dune experience. I read the first book and was not even that crazy about it. All the changes that Denis did, like, elevate it and make it such a better story, because he's changed so much. So I'm holding out and really just waiting for this final piece to bring it all home.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't think they're gonna be able to top it, and I'm fully content with that, because this movie on its own was like, I remember last year, this was your most anticipated movie, and I said, yeah, sure, I guess it's probably mine too. Dude, first movie I saw last year, like, first 2024 movie was the best one.
Yeah, when has that ever happened before?
This movie, it did more than just make me buy into the world of Dune, made me buy into the world built up by the first movie, and also made me believe in, like, Timothée. So, yeah, good actor.
Dude,
seeing him ride that sandworm, bro.
Now that you mentioned it, was my number one anticipated last year. Rewatching Dune 1 was my second most anticipated last year. Yeah, I got to rewatch that one in IMAX, and they actually previewed the sandworm riding scene, which was really cool. When they bring out the third one, I really hope that they re-release both of these in either IMAX or Dolby or something, because I will absolutely be there rewatching them every chance I get.
Dune has, like, the best directing of the year for me, and then Substance has the best script. Just saying. That's the difference, I've realized.
I could agree with those.
Let's just run through it really quick. I gotta think, is there any big ones that I missed from your list that I need to see?
I think you've seen all 10 on my top 10. We talked about Late Night with the Devil and Baby Girl. And then if I had to give a third, maybe Grand Theft Hamlet, but...
And you need to see Flo and Hundreds of Beavers.
Absolutely. I think. And then I'm Still Here.
Man. And Wild Robot. Well, I'd say that was another successful year. Who do you think's gonna win the Oscar?
For Best Picture, I feel like either Brutalist or Anora. Pulling for Dune or The Substance. For actress, pulling for Demi Moore, and also I think she would win. And then
or Mikey.
Mikey would be good too. For actor, I don't know. I feel like Timothy. Who else do we have in there?
I feel like they'll pick Adrian, but I would really like Ray Fiennes too for Conclave. I thought he did really good. I don't know. Other than that, like I said, I think best editing's Anora. I think best screenplay is Substance. And best directing was Dune.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree.
You put Romulus above Nosferatu, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I don't know what got in my brain, but I thought A Complete Unknown would be in your top 3, and then you, like, didn't have it as either of those, and I was like, oh, I'm wrong.
Wow. Yeah, that didn't even make top 17 or 18. Like, I liked it, but it really did not blow me away.
Excited for next year?
Oh yeah, I got like 12 of them.
Frankenstein by Del Toro.
Companion, which I may or may not have already seen.
That's on my list too. Was it good?
Amazing.
Sinners by Ryan Coogler.
The Monkey.
Is the monkey the Longlegs guy?
Yes.
Interesting. Wes Anderson, The Phoenician Scheme.
Yo, I did not even know about that.
I don't know much about it. I don't really want to look it up.
Next up, I've got Mickey 17 by Bong Joon-ho.
I think that got delayed a year because that was definitely anticipated last year too.
Yep.
Looks cool though. Here's one that's you're gonna want to see. Eddington.
Absolutely. That would be my number one most anticipated of the year.
Arguably same. Ari Aster always does something weird.
Next up, I've got Opus. Ayo Edebiri with her like first big theatrical role since Bottoms.
So Edgar Wright's making a remake of The Running Man. No idea, but we're gonna watch it.
And I think Glenn Powell starring.
Yeah, that's cool. And Edgar Wright is also like Edgar Wright and Wes Anderson, I've said for a long time, are my two favorite directors. So maybe Spielberg.
I've got Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Been a big fan of all the movies, and this is like supposedly the final one.
I feel like it's not, but it's gonna be bad. They always are.
How cool would it be if he like dies in some crazy way?
That would be unexpected. But hey, did it, so.
True. Spoilers.
That shocked me too, actually. You're right.
Same.
28 days later.
Years.
Oh, sorry, yeah, 28 years later. We've
good.
already seen that one.
Next, I've got Superman.
Yeah, that looks good.
Could be DC making a name for themselves, and also most of it's filmed in Cleveland, including at the Guardian Stadium. Dang, I wish I knew the name of the mall they filmed in, but...
Let's do a Safdie double feature. Josh and Benny are actually doing two different movies. Marty Supreme, starring Timothy Chalamet, and The Smashing Machine, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
You know about
that? Yeah, I'm excited for both of those. Yeah, Marty Supreme comes out on Christmas, I believe. And Timothy Chalamet is the king of Christmas because he had Wonka 2 Christmases ago, and then A Complete Unknown this Christmas. So Marty Supreme could be his next Christmas hit. And my next one is The Fantastic Four: First Steps. I'm a little skeptical, especially with the Robert Downey Jr. casting, but I don't even know if he's in this movie because I think Galactus is the villain in this movie.
They could be faking it out, but I just want to see them do this team right, you know.
Yeah, and this cast is killer. Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, Pedro Pascal, Eben Moss Bachrach. He's from The Bear. He's goated.
Yeah, that trailer looks promising too. So.
And Galactus is Ralph Ineson, the dude.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, you know him. Yeah.
He's like the dad in The Witch.
Yes.
Great voice. Begonia by Yorgos Lanthimos. I'm gonna give him another try next year. Let's see if we can bounce back. I think it's got Emma Stone again, so.
I'm sure it does. My next one, untitled thus far, but apparently it comes out this summer. Paul Thomas Anderson, DiCaprio movie. Have you heard about this at all?
Yes, I have it written down. Its title is called One Battle After Another.
And is it like crime thriller type beat?
I don't know. Yeah. That's all I know.
But yeah, I'm seated.
The last one, Knives Out 3, Wake Up Dead Man.
I've got Tron
excited.
Ares, and then Avatar Fire and Ash as well.
Are you a big fan of Tron Legacy?
I really enjoyed it when I saw it. I was like very young and saw it in theaters, but I like owned the Daft Punk soundtrack on CD. A pretty big Tron fanboy at the time. I don't think I ever watched it since, so I couldn't tell you if it holds up. It's probably like what kickstarted me into loving sci-fi today.
Oh, Thunderbolts looks okay. If we're gonna say Marvel, I think Thunderbolts looks good.
Yeah, out of all the Marvel, that's probably the only one I might see.
Wait, Fantastic Four is Marvel.
True. But I mean, it's not in like the same timeline right now.
Nah, it looks like its own thing, which is
great.
Hopefully they just do it all good. I'm excited for all this stuff. I'm gonna start off with Companion probably.
Yeah,
but
I actually saw it twice already, dude. Like, did you see the Sacred Fig movie? My friend watched it in theaters and said it was insane, and that's all he said.
Yeah, I really wanted to see that and How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies.
I've not heard of that.
They're like 2 foreign movies, but well, dude, any last thoughts before we log out?
I think we nailed it.
All right, thanks for listening, guys. Subscribe or don't.
Leave a comment with your thoughts.
Yeah, and what are your favorite movies of the year? Because there were quite a few that we didn't even get to talk about. Like
I
Werewolves.
didn't even get to watch.
True that. 66, baby. 66.
50.
50.